than all patients. And because in our demographic section we select what insurance company each one of these patients have, we're able to create these reports with these drop-down filters, organizing it by insurance company. And then you can see these are the specific claims that this insurance company has not paid on yet. So if they
the dates, okay.
So if they try to mess around with you, you can say, listen, I know. I have a full report. I'm going to send it to you. This is where you're out of compliance. How come you haven't paid on the 91 to 20 or over 120 claims? These are the ones that are outstanding. So this gives you an idea of where the insurance company is coming up short in terms of making sure that you have the intelligence reporting that you need to make sure you get your money from the insurance company that they owe. And if you go to better understand the patient aging, so this takes care of the insurance, how much insurance owes you. Now you want a patient aging summary, which will give you a high-level understanding of aging bucket under 31 days. And this will tell you exactly what patients owe what based upon what bucket of time. So for me, I know what I like about this is that I can see exactly what they owe, and I know my admin staff hasn't been as vigilant as they need to be at the front office and the front desk to get the money. And I can audit them from anywhere in the world, how well they're doing or not in terms of their patient aging. From here, I would ask them to print this off once a week, have a meeting, and then go into appointments, find the appointment of the patient coming in for the following week, double click on it, and I would have them put in an appointment note. You can always go into patient here and see the balance, but obviously they haven't been doing a good enough job looking at that patient tab because they have a balance on their account. Put in an appointment note saying that they owe $800. Couple of exclamation points. There you go. Hit OK. And what we've done is create an appointment that has a circle in next to it.
Oh, no.
Which means for an admin person, they know that there's some attention that they need to pay to this particular appointment. And they can roll their mouse over it and they'll see the pop-up of what they need to do.
Patient owes $800.
And I want to see in all of our patient accounts several of these circle ends everywhere, because if any patient has any balances, then I want those to be in there. It's a nice feature, so it allows the biller to communicate with the admin staff, and the admin staff to communicate with the biller through the schedule. So it creates that open dialogue to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So if you go back into reports, now we've audited to make sure we have a comprehensive understanding of why people owe money, both from the insurance side and also from the patient side. Now, the most important thing from the insurance companies, which is the most amount of work, is to understand when we have an EOB or we have an ERA, who hasn't paid on them because of denials or partial payments. So if you come into the billing, transactions journal, you can hit patient, all patients, and then the transaction code here, go down to denial, denied 1. The difference between denied 1, 2, and 3 is because there will be claims that you submit that are initial claims, secondary claims, and tertiary claims. So all 3 can be denied. And you're able to select the denied 1 and then hit preview. This is critical because insurance companies will oftentimes erroneously deny a claim, not because you haven't met your deductible, not because you don't have any benefits left, just because they made an error. And you want to make sure and double check with the insurance company. So I know for my biller that these are all action items that they need to call the insurance company and figure out exactly why these denials happen. Also under the category of denials is partial payments. So sometimes insurance companies will pay an amount that is not the contractual amount and not provide an explanation. And so if you go to transaction code and go to scroll down to partial pay one. This is where you can get a full report of who's made partial payments. So again, this, in my mind, is a task list for the biller in terms of contacting the insurance company and figuring out what the partial payments are. So that's it.
Ready to bill.
So a summary of everything now is that we just created a billing event through the scheduler. From the scheduler, we moved it over to the biller by recording completed appointments. The biller is able to review it to make sure that all of the charges and line item charges are correct before they are submitted over to the claim submission side or to the patient's ledger. Once it gets into the claim queue, we're able to send the claims off directly to Navicure, our partner clearinghouse, or you can download them onto your computer and upload them directly into whatever clearinghouse you like using our ANSI files. And then once the claims come back, we're able to post them electronically through electronic remittance device. It'll update automatically within each patient ledger, and also post the payments directly to the patient accounts in terms of the patient responsibility amounts. And then do a systematic audit to make sure that we understand why the partial payments and denials happen the way that they did.
What curveball questions do you get that are going to stump, like reversing a transaction or whatever, balance credits and transfers
and all that kind of stuff. Like, how do you do credit adjustments? So what's great is if you go into billing, well, also I want to show you one other thing. You can go to create day sheet if you go to billing, and after you've posted all the insurance payments and you've posted all of the patient payments, the day sheet gives you an opportunity to every single day reconcile exactly what you submitted into the bank. A lot of people will kind of lose cash along the way. Somehow, you know, you'll have an amount posted, but the amount in the bank doesn't match the amount that you have in your practice management solution. And so by having this day sheet, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it'll give you a summary of what the deposit sheet should look like. And if this number doesn't match to a T what's in your bank account, then you know something in your admin staff or some data entry error mistake happened. And by doing this every single day, it'll prevent you from making any mistakes at the conclusion of the month. So the day sheet is critical because it allows you to reconcile and keep your accounts very, very clean. And it's also, this gives you a high-level summary, so if you want to know a summary of your checks, cash, credit card, everything, it'll all be here. And this will be saved daily directly into the EMR. So if we X out of the day sheet, and this is the last thing you'll do when you're done with posting all of your payments. Now, you're going to get a lot of calls from your clients, and they're going to ask, what's going on with my account? Why do I owe what I owe? And if you go into billing, go to view added charges, you can type in a patient name. So Val just called you, Jessica Bauman's on the phone. She's like, I'm confused. How come I owe X amount of dollars? I thought my insurance company paid it. I could have sworn I paid X number of dollars. You'll be able to come in here and explain to her everything that's going on. So you can click on any one of these charges. And below, it's going to give you an explanation of the service provided and who provided the service. If there needs to be any adjustment to this for whatever reason, maybe you submitted, you can always go to add adjustment, and you can do a credit adjustment, charge adjustment, an insurance refund, and make any adjustment after the fact. And then I would always make note of it. Yeah, do a credit adjustment. Make note of it. Say, accounting error, $500 adjustment. And what's nice about this is that this will show up on the statement, so the patient will always have an understanding of what happened and why. So you can hit save. And you see for this line item, because you create a credit of $500, this line item now has a $400 credit for that particular day.
Beautiful.
Accepting payment at from the calendar
So if you,
and payment
if you-
unapplied payments. How do you use those?
If you're a private practice and a solo provider, you might want to use the accept payment option at the time of service. So if you right-click on an appointment, this one already accepted payment. Go to that one. Oh, that's in the future. That's why. Go to this one. So if somebody has a copay and they want a receipt for their appointment, you can go accept payment. And you can type in $15. 15 for the copay amount. And then payment type. And then hit save and print receipt. And what this is going to do is give you a super bill for the appointment which will include the CPT code, the DSM code, and all the information that you may need for that appointment for them to get out-of-network reimbursement. We just collected copays, so obviously you're not going to send this to the insurance company to get out-of-network reimbursement. But if they had paid the full $175, then this would be a tangible sheet of paper that they could forward onto the insurance company because it has all the necessary information that the insurance company needs to get out-of-network reimbursement applied. You want me to do the prepayment?
Yeah.
It's not on this account.
Oh. Just explain it, how you demo it.
Okay. So there's this concept that, and what happens a lot of the times is a patient will come in, they owe $225 for their appointment, but they won't pay the $225.
Okay.
That happens mostly in a scenario where a parent's kid is coming in for treatment, and they only are able to actually physically come into the building maybe once every 2 months. So when they come in, they pay in one lump sum, and it'll be maybe a $2,000 credit for the next 8 sessions that the child will have with the provider. So we have a concept called accept prepayment, which allows right from the schedule you'll be able to right-click, go to accept prepayment. You'll post $2,000 into what is called a prepayment purse, which is an amount that's essentially like a credit within the Valent software. It'll still show up in the day sheet to allow you to reconcile the fact that you accepted a $2,000 check, but the biller will be able to move amounts from the prepayment purse to the charges as they occur. So an issue a lot of the times, and the reason why we created this, is that we didn't want on the same line item within the statement a $225 charge and a $2,000 payment. Because oftentimes for out-of-network reimbursement, they'll only get reimbursed for that one session rather than for multiple sessions because it just shows it on one line item. Instead, we've created this purse and there will be a $225 payment over 10 sessions, and it'll show up perfectly on the same line item so the insurance company won't get confused. And you'll be able to move that from the prepayment area directly to, you want to add anything?
Well, it's also useful because you might want to accept payment without creating a charge and posting you can't post a payment unless you created a charge, and you don't necessarily know what the E&M code, you don't know what code you're going to use, especially now with the change in E&M coding, but you want to accept the money, and it might not be a copay, you might need to accept, if it's a fee for service, the whole thing. So you maybe shoot a little bit north of what you're going to get, and then you take it as a prepayment, you'll post it later after the charge is created. And maybe you'll do that the next morning for all of the charges that created the previous day.
What we found is that group practices, this is kind of a hard thing to use in terms of prepayment for providers to use it. But if you're centralized admin staff, wanting to use prepayment is usually a good option. And if a
Not a good idea for providers to be accepting payments, but sometimes group practices do it.
Right. And if you are, but group practices admin staff, it's great.
Yes.
For them to accept
Yeah.
prepayment.
Right.
It's just
And the providers. You don't want providers handling your money.
Yeah.
But sometimes they insist on that in group practices.
And then, but for solo providers, accepting prepayment is great for them because they're able to actually move it around directly from the scheduler without having to go in there really much.
Did you leave anything out
I don't think so.
in your standard? All right.